What it is, what it is. Welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Happy Saturday. Back with another show on a Saturday. It's been a minute that I did a show on Saturday. But I had to bring in a heavy hitter, one of my Real Deal bros, waiting in the wings. But before we get started, hit my music. Let's get it. All right, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Happy Saturday, September 6th. I can't believe it's already September. Kids are back in school. Football season's here, so we got the NFL Week 1. What a start to the season as well. We're gonna get into all of that with my guest. But before I bring him in, you can follow the show on all the podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Spreaker, BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com. Also, you can find all the shows on BS3 Network. We're on the BS3 Network Roku channel as well. Like I said, we got shows for everyone. So check out the website and check out the network on all those platforms. And you can follow me on all the social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Blue Sky. All right, well, let me bring in my guest here. This guy is not a guest. He's podcast family. It's my real deal brother. He's got the same name on the podcast. Incredible podcaster as well. The Real Deal with Damian Adams, the host of that. It's available on all podcast platforms. And welcome my man back to the show, Damian Adams. What up, Dame? Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Oh, man, you're my real deal brother. Great podcaster. So anytime you invite me on, man, I'm always welcome to come on, man. So I appreciate it.
No doubt. I really appreciate that as well. And thank you again for doing this. We've been doing this for a long time, man. And as I say, this guy is well versed in a lot of sports, mostly all sports. And it's always great having conversations with him because he comes on my NBA preview show. We do a lot of boxing. We do a little everything. We fantasy football. We just had our fantasy football draft. And so I'm always excited to have you on. So really appreciate the time.
For sure.
Yeah, so a lot to get into. Like I said, Week 1 NFL, the weekend. We've already had two games, two crazy games from that, and then now we've got Sunday coming up. The full slate tomorrow. Big boxing. So I had to get you on with Canelo and Crawford. So we're gonna get into that and a lot of good news. So yes, I gotta bring my man back on. So my real deal brother. So again, really appreciate it. But let's get right into this. Let's talk about Week 1. We had the season opener, the kickoff, NFL kickoff, Eagles and Cowboys. Eagles prevailed in a very strange game, 24-20. And then we had the game in Brazil yesterday, also with the Chiefs and the Chargers prevailed and won that one Friday night as well. So let's get into this Eagles Cowboys game. What was your overall take on this and how it went down? I mean, we had Spitgate. We also had a player got injured the first play of the game on the kickoff, and then and we had fights, and there was all types of different things, all types of drama. The Eagles got their banner. So as everyone knows, I'm an Eagles fan, so I was excited about that. And, they got the win and NFC East rivalry with the Cowboys. And it was a lot of different things. Had they had some thunder and lightning and delay. So, but what was your overall take on that whole game in itself, besides the game itself?
Now, it was definitely a crazy game. It was a classic NFC East rivalry game, right? The animosity is crazy. Season just started. They already at each other's necks.
Already.
Like 6 seconds in, you got people spitting on each other, like you said. And Jalen Carter got to be smarter than that. I realized that, video came out that Dak Prescott spit towards him, but Dak's story seems like it could be true. Like he didn't want to spit on his offensive lineman, so he stepped between them, spit on the field. Jalen Carter, if you watch the video, his huddle is like 5 yards back. Like, why are you there?
Yep.
Like, just go to your huddle and mind your business until it starts. Like, why are you there in his vicinity anyway to even start this back and forth that you guys had that led to you spitting on him, which is, just disgusting, right? That's like beyond disrespectful. You spit on somebody. So he deserved to get kicked out. I don't know if they're going to suspend him. Hopefully it's not too long. You guys got the Chiefs next week. That would be a bad timing right there for him to get suspended, for the Chiefs game. But that was just dumb, right? But for the game itself, I thought it was two different games. I thought it was one game before the rain delay and one game after the rain delay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was two totally different experiences watching the games before and after the rain/lightning delay. And I felt like the defenses did a great job after the rain delay of adjusting to both offenses. You saw Dallas switch up some things, start to bring pressure from their secondary instead of just having the rush. Because at first, Jalen Hurts was just chilling back there, chilling, taking his time, surveying the field. And even though he didn't have a great passing game yardage-wise, he did a great job of taking what was there, taking what was given, and he had the one big throw. But outside of that, everything else was kind of dink and dunk, but he took what was there. And then when opportunities came for him to use his legs, he did that in a great way. I think that the Eagles defense looked young to start the game. Yeah. And you saw Dak Prescott take advantage of that. And we kind of forget that Dak, when healthy, Dak's a top 10 guy. Like, he's in that top 10 conversation.
Yeah.
When healthy. And in this game, he showed that. Like, he made some amazing throws. CeeDee Lamb has got to be feeling really bad right now. He had some really big drops in that game that could have changed the outcome, honestly, like especially the ones late in the fourth quarter. Some really big drops. But I think that it showed that the Eagles are still top tier. And the Cowboys maybe have made some improvements, but defensively, you saw the effect of not having Michael Parsons out there, right? They had to bring pressure, outside pressure. They had to bring extra blitzers to get any type of pressure on Jalen Hurts. If they didn't do that, Jalen Hurts was chilling back there. But I guess my question for you as an Eagles fan, did the lack of explosive passing from Jalen Hurts worry you a bit? Or is this just like last year where you're like, okay, we don't have the explosive passing game, but we don't need it because we have the defense, because we have the running game?
The second one, I think I don't have any concerns. I think they do need to open it up a little bit. They have to open up that offense because you're going to get a team that's going to, like Dallas, they played zone in the second half, and you said they was bringing some extra pressure so they could close those lanes. So Jalen Hurts couldn't have that much time and get those lanes where he's able to survey the field and then run, or just like say dink and dunk and things like that. So I mean, there's a little concern on that but on top of that too, Jalen Hurts is one of those guys where he's become such a good leader that he's taking what the defense gives him. Like, he's showing that I'm just doing whatever it takes to win. If I need to throw 40 times, he can do that. I mean, we both know he can do that, but that's just not, I guess, what they are made for him to do. But they do have top tier receivers, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and you got to take advantage of it. And Dallas Goedert, top 10 tight end, and he was looking for Goddard early and to get him involved. And but you could tell, like the last two games of last season, or in the playoffs against Washington and against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, he showed that he could get the job done and get the work done while throwing the football. But I'm not really concerned in that regard because I think Jalen, like I said, he just does what it takes. He doesn't take risk. He doesn't want to turn the ball over, and he just gives what the defense gives him. But there's going to be teams that are better than Dallas defensively are going to take those running lanes away and make Jalen Hurts throw the football, and we know he's capable of doing that.
For sure. Now, he's capable of taking it to that extra notch if needed. Yeah. You just wonder if it's going to be a thing where they're not able. There's going to be a game where he's not able to do it, where they need him to do it, right? In this game, Saquon didn't go crazy in this game. Like, Saquon had a decent game, but he didn't go crazy. And you're like, okay, if CeeDee Lamb makes a few more catches, you may have a different result here because they're not able to be more explosive offensively. So that's where the concern can come in.
Yeah, and Dallas, you said Dak played excellent. Dak played a really good game. And you said it proves that Dak is still, when healthy, and all the pieces are working and together, he's a top 10, 12 quarterback. And this guy is 2 years removed from almost win an MVP. For sure. So Dak is definitely still capable. And he said CeeDee Lamb, those 4 drops definitely hurt. And yes, if he doesn't drop 4 of those passes, Dallas probably wins, more than likely wins. And but it is, like I said, it's game 1 and it's first week. And it's funny because it's always overreaction of things of week 1. This is everyone's preseason for the starters, for the number ones, and it showed. But it was 2 halves. It was, like I said, the first half before the rain delay. I mean, both teams were scoring. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be a high-scoring game. There's going to be like 38-30, 38-31, and then the rain delay, hour delay, and then they said the defense is locked in then, and then it was only I think 3 points total. For the Eagles scored that field goal and that was it. So it was definitely a tale of 2 halves in this game. But I'm glad the Eagles got the win because, like I said, they got Kansas City next week, who are going to probably be very angry of how that game turned out from yesterday for sure.
Oh, for sure. I can't wait for that game next week. And can I say something about the rain delay real quick?
Yeah,
I've been saying this for years. I'm crazy. Every NFL team should have a dome or a retractable roof by now. In 2025, this league makes money hand over fist. So getting retractable roofs or getting domes for every team wouldn't cost them that much. They would make that money back probably week 1 of the next year, right? Yep. They would make that money back quickly. I understand there's certain teams that have a tradition with the outside field, right? Green Bay, for example. It's hard to imagine Green Bay in a dome because we always talk about the frozen tundra.
Lambeau Field,
and all that stuff. In Buffalo, for example, it's always the snow games, and even their new stadium that they're building is an outside stadium. They're not going to have a retractable roof, so they still want to have that effect of the snow and all that stuff. I feel like in 2025, we don't need that to make the games good because you have so much talent. If you have domes or you have retractable roofs, you're seeing everybody at their best. You're not having the game determined by wind. We've seen that before where crazy wind is going on and now teams just have to run the ball the whole game, but they can't really pass it because there's 30 mile per hour gust of winds going on.
Right.
Like if you have teams inside, you get the best of both teams. There's no this team won because of the snow. And I guess I get it when it comes to home field advantage for certain teams. They're like, we play better in the snow. But if you're good, you're going to play your home field advantage is having your home crowd.
Yeah.
That's the home field advantage. So I think that eventually we should go to all domes or all at least having a retractable roof so you don't have these type of situations. Because you guys on the East Coast, that had to be rough. That had to be rough having that hour delay when the game starts at 8:20. That has to be rough.
Yeah, it is rough. It was rough. And like I said, as a fan, we're going to watch. But we feel it the next day because I felt it the next day because it was late. It was like, I think the game didn't go till almost 12:30, a.m. Because of the rain delay. It started back up in the third quarter, started back at 11:30 p.m. I said 11:30 p.m. and it was 12:30 a.m. It went off and I'm so wired up. I'm watching things and watching the after the game and looking on social media and things like that. And next thing you know, it's like 1:30 in the morning. Like I gotta get up and go to work. I gotta work. And my wife, she's like, I'm going to bed. So we had a friend over who was a Cowboys fan. She left at 11, and she said, I guess I got to get up early. I got to get up at 7. So let me go back to get a half hour to go home and before the traffic and everything too. Because the game gets out at 12:30, and then that traffic is ridiculous. So I said, and then but it was raining and all that. So it's definitely rough. But we suffer because we go through it with the NBA also. It's like late games, those West Coast games, they don't end till about 1:00 in the morning, and then we're watching Inside the NBA. On top of that, and it's like, it's 2:00. Oh my goodness! It's like, well, we do that to ourselves too, for sure. That's a choice. Before I put a pin in this game, we talked about the Jalen Carter thing, and like I said, very stupid move what he did, and people said, it was a mistake. No, he knew what he was doing, and it was not. It was just bad judgment for sure. And now that he could be suspended, I hope he's not suspended for a long time, but I think the NFL does need to set a standard. I'm thinking maybe 2 games he might get. I know he might get 1. He might not get anything. I mean, who knows what the NFL is going to do? As you see, they're taking a while before they even say anything. I figured they would already had put something out. Maybe they'll do it today. Maybe they'll wait till after week 1.
Yeah, probably Monday. They'll probably say something. They'll probably announce it on Monday.
Yeah, it might be a game. He might miss this Chiefs game at the very least. But I mean, we were sitting there thinking, like, what are you doing? Like, and you did it right in front of the ref. Like, of all things, the ref is standing right there, and he's laughing about it. And like Dax, like you said, Dax said, I didn't want to spit. People are saying, well, he spit in front of him, but he didn't spit on him. And as he said, that's the most. You show no respect to someone you spit on somebody like that. That's one of the most nastiest things you can do to someone is to spit on someone. And and I think we're talking about this more than the game, and that took away. And I know Jalen Hurts said after in his press conference saying we talked and we addressed it, and I think again that just shows the leadership growth of Jalen Hurts. But and it's bringing up Jalen Carter's all his past things that he in college and heading into the draft, and it's gonna stay with him for sure.
Nah, it's gonna stay with him, and you hope that because he's up for a contract soon too.
Yeah,
so come up in that. He's the best defender on the team.
Yeah.
And you saw that in the first half. Like, they were able to run the ball. A lot of people were making jokes because no one had Javonte Williams starting on their fantasy lineup.
Yeah.
He got 2 touchdowns right away. Like, oh man, if Jalen Carter's there, maybe those 2 touchdowns don't happen. So you definitely felt that impact right away, and he's too important to the team to do that.
Yeah, very important. Like he was I know we both do some betting, and he was up for Defensive Player of the Year. There was props for him to be that, and now this hurts his chances because if he's suspended or if not, I mean, he said he's coming for a contract, and he wants to be one of the highest paid defensive linemen in football. So we'll see what happens there. All right, let's get into this Chiefs and Chargers game, and the Chargers, they held on to the lead and closed it out. So it's usually that, with their past history, they don't usually close it out, but they win 26-21. A nice that was a very good game. As I said, a great week to start the NFL Week 1 kickoff. What'd you think of that? What was your reaction to the Chargers beating the Chiefs in Brazil?
So that was my upset pick for the week, was the Chargers beating the Chiefs. And I just felt going into the game that the Chargers were going to be able to expand on the success they had last year.
Right.
Last year they started the season really establishing a run, and then as the season went on, you saw Justin Herbert getting more and more reps as far as passing the ball in that system. Now, Justin Herbert, another year in this system, he's going to be able to expand even more. And that's what we saw last night. We saw him really have a great game. Like, we saw the best of Justin Herbert.
Yes.
And I love that he used his legs so much. He even used his legs to close the game.
Yep.
3rd and 14. He runs for the first down to close out the game.
Yeah, that was nice.
That's something that when you have a quarterback who can do both like that, it definitely is something that makes your offense so hard to stop. And he's somebody who it's such a smart way, right? The way he reads the defense, the way he takes his time. You can tell he's never rushed, really. Now, offensive line also helps with that, the fact that he's never rushed. Offensive line does a great job protecting him. He only had one hit I really remember that was like a blind side where he didn't see the blitz coming.
Yeah,
it was the one that got him. But outside of that, offensive line did an amazing job protecting him. I thought that the Chargers did a great job of just scheming very well, right? They did a great job of getting receivers open, doing play action at the right time, fooling the Chiefs defense. They did everything right. And for the Chiefs, again, it's week 1. You don't want to overreact.
Yeah.
But their offense is so dependent on Patrick Mahomes being great.
Yeah.
Very dependent on Patrick Mahomes being great. Like, everything they got in that second half basically was on Patrick Mahomes doing something magical. That 4th and 7 where Khalil Mack is chasing him down. He's damn near out of bounds when he's running away. And he chucks it downfield, which was a blown coverage as well. But he's able to do that because he's Patrick Mahomes. He's able to be mobile enough to get away from Khalil Mack for just enough time to make that throw downfield for the 4th and 7 to keep them alive in the game where they got the field goal to make it 27-21. But you look at what the Chargers were able to do as far as on both sides of the ball. Travis Kelce, he had the 1 touchdown, but outside of that, he was pretty much shut down for most of the game. They had the miscommunication on that play where he got the touchdown. But outside of that, the only time you heard his name is when he ran into Xavier Worthy. So you don't really have much from him. And then you lose Xavier Worthy. You already have Rashee Rice out for 6 weeks.
Yep.
Who's going to be the person to step up for them offensively to help them out? Pacheco has some moments, but if teams are not worried about their receivers and tight ends as far as being individual threats, that means that they're going to have more man-to-man coverage.
Yeah.
And the only thing that could make the man-to-man coverage work or make the man-to-man coverage something that they have to pay for as far as from the defensive side is when Patrick Mahomes breaks the pocket and is able to run, because he did have a lot of running yards in this game because they were playing man-to-man. So you wonder if that's going to be the only – he has to run more this year because teams are going to play man-to-man because they're not scared of receivers. So I feel like you may see more games where Patrick Mahomes has 50, 60 yards rushing because teams are playing man-to-man and no one's open, so he has to run. And I don't know if you want him taking that many chances running the ball like that, because he did take a couple hits. He got one hit into he trucked the cornerback. The cornerback didn't expect it. Cornerback ran out of bounds. He trucked him, which is tough. It's tough on the cornerback because the cornerback's like, okay, I can't hit you. If I hit you hard and you mess around and flop, I might get 15 yards.
15 yards, yep.
But then you mess around and you want to truck me because I'm thinking you're going to run out of bounds. It's a really tough position that the defenders are in. Yeah. And even with the Blankenship personal foul they called on that hit.
Yeah, in the end zone. Yes.
Yeah, that was a bad call as well. Like they put the defenders in a really bad position. But this game, I think the Chargers really showed themselves that they could be a true contender. And the Chiefs, of course, you don't want to overreact, but I feel like there is something to worry about when it comes to the offense being very, very Patrick Mahomes, not just Patrick Mahomes dependent, but being magical Mahomes dependent.
Yeah, I agree. I think there is, like you said, overreaction week one, but there are some concerns. I said, the receivers. If you don't have your top two receivers now, because we don't know how long Xavier were they're talking maybe 4 to 6 weeks. They got to make sure how bad the shoulder is, but it looked bad the way he came down, and you could tell he's almost like this is going to be. He said this is going to be something concerning, and then Rashee Rice he's out for 6 weeks as well with suspension. So, and Kelsey, he can't seem to always get open as much. That's just the wear and tear. The miles on his body and everything too. So where do you go? Hollywood Brown, you have him. I mean, he had a really good game, but he had 16 targets yesterday. I was like, goodness, he was just force feeding, but he had no choice. He had no choice and everything too. So, but it is truly Patrick Mahomes dependent. And you said magical Patrick Mahomes dependent. And again, the Eagles kind of in the Super Bowl put the blueprint of how to defend Patrick Mahomes. You got to put pressure on him. And you said he's running around, that's susceptible to an injury. And we've seen that happen with him when he's concerned with his offensive line. They can't block. And, he's got to make things out of nothing. And, it can happen. And he's still Patrick Mahomes, but you ain't going to rely on that for the whole year, the whole season as well. So you pressure him, and just like any other quarterback, you can make them look ordinary. And I think that's what the Chargers were trying to do as well.
For sure. And I think they did a good job. That defense is still very, very good. Offensively, I love them bringing back Keenan Allen.
Yes.
I think that's
was a big key.
Yeah, I think that's a big addition for them. They have a good wide receiver, like an underrated wide receiver core, along with they're going to have a good running game. Their rookie made a mistake that led to 3 points for the Kansas City Chiefs, but he's a rookie. You can let it pass. He'll learn from that mistake. Yeah. But I like what I saw from him as well. And I think they're going to be well coached. With Harbaugh, they're going to be well coached. They're going to be disciplined. Like, this team could be one of the surprise teams. Like, they made the playoffs last year, but they could be a team that people are like, oh, this team could maybe be a Super Bowl contender. Maybe a few weeks from now, we're like, oh, the Chargers are for real. That win against the Chiefs wasn't just an opening night thing. That was a real thing that showed us like a foreshadowing of what's going to happen.
If Justin Herbert, I mean, we've been talking about people say he's a top 5, top 6 quarterback. He can't win. And yes, the talent's there. Talent's always there. It's just now, can he take it to the next level? And this was a good start. I mean, he looked very comfortable and very, like said, he's got the arm, he's got all the intangibles and tools. It's just now, can he take that next step to keep winning? And this is a good first step. Like I said, the offense is there, good coaching, offense is there. You said the line, they just got to be able to continue to keep blocking. It could be concerned offensive line, but they can improve and everything too. Yeah, the Chargers could be for real. But we'll see, because we've seen this story before where they look good in the regular season, and then they just towards the end of the year and in the playoffs, they just for some reason can't get over the hump. But we'll for sure see. But it's a good win, good win to start the season. A great win for them to start the season as well. But let's talk about the rest of the week one. A lot of good games to start the kickoff of the NFL season. What games do you have your eyes on that you are looking to say, hey, I want to definitely see this game, see how it turns out for week one?
Man, like you said, it's a good slate of games. The first one that kind of stood out to me was Washington versus the Giants.
Yes. Yeah.
The Giants have looked really good in the preseason, but that's preseason, right? You never know what that really means.
Right.
And they played Washington good last year, surprisingly. Like both games were close. And I can see this being another close game. And if that Giants defensive line is as real as people are saying it is, because that defensive line looks scary.
Yeah.
Right. The rest of the defense we don't know about, right?
Yeah, backstabbing. Yeah.
But that defensive line, if you got a great defensive line, it really makes up for the rest of your defense. And that defensive line looks like it could be scary, which they could give Jaden Daniels a hard time, which will make the game close. So yeah. I think Washington wins it, but I think Washington wins a close game. So for your bettors out there, I think the Giants cover 6.5. I got the Commanders winning. I think it's going to be a really good game, and I'm interested to see what the Commanders do with Deebo Samuel. Is Terry McLaurin, is he really ready after the holdout and finally getting his contract? With their running back situation, they traded away Brian Robinson Jr. Austin Eckler now is going to be the main guy at his age. Can he still handle that kind of workload? There's a lot of questions there with Washington. So this is a really interesting game from just a question standpoint of trying to figure out what these teams are about going forward. So I'm really interested in that one.
Yeah, I like that. Yes, of course. For me, the NFC East matchup, and just to keep my eyes on that. Just to say, is Washington, are they still for real? You know, they caught a lot of people by surprise last year, and you know, Jay Daniels had an incredible year, rookie year. Now going into year two, teams got, like I said, we were talking about teams got tape on you now. They're going to defend you a little bit differently. And a lot of things with Washington too. Last year, they won a lot of close games, Can they sustain that type of run with that? I think they'll still be really good. But can they sustain all that success of winning those close games, going for it on fourth down as many times as they did, and converting? Those type of things you just don't see consistently from year to year to year. But year two for Jaden Daniels is a big thing. And you said, and with the running game, how's that going to look? How they going to implement Deebo Samuel in that? And he said on the Giants side, how long and how much does Russell Wilson have left? Because Giant fans want their rookie. You could tell that buzz of him. Want him to start, but they got Russell Wilson for a reason to bridge that gap. He's a stopgap QB, but does Russell Wilson does he have it? How much does he have left? He looked okay last season. I mean, it seemed like towards the end of the year, that's when Russell Wilson didn't look good at all. But now the Giants, they signed him and they said he's the starter. So we'll see how much leash does he have. But but the defensively, I think that defensive line, if it is scary as much as it is, that's gonna be a real thing for the Giants. Keep them in games.
For sure. I like that matchup. Another matchup that I'm really interested in is Carolina and Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I want to see how they use Travis Hunter. Yeah, that's the big thing right there. See if they're truly going to do a two-way thing with him, or is he going to be in packages? They're saying that he's going to be more of a wide receiver than a cornerback, which I'm surprised by because I thought he was going to be more of a cornerback who was in packages as a receiver. So it's really interesting that they're going with him as a wide receiver, which I think he's a very good receiver. I think he's somebody, but I just thought from a cornerback perspective, he could be special. Yeah. From a cornerback perspective. Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out and how their offense looks with Liam Cohen as the head coach now. He did a great job with Tampa Bay last year as the offensive coordinator. Baker Mayfield had his best season as a pro under Liam Cohen. So now can Trevor Lawrence benefit from Liam Cohen in that same way? We've been waiting. Trevor Lawrence has had this up and down career. Yep. Now we're trying to see if he can really be that guy, live up to the contract that he's about to, go into. Very big contract that he signed. And hopefully that you're hoping that he can really show up and be that guy because you're already guaranteed and you're already locked into him. Like you already put a ring on it. And now you have to see if he is worthy of, being married to. It'd be horrible to, put a ring on it. Now you find out, he's not out here ready for marriage. You know, he's still out here living a single life. That's what they're trying to figure out right now. Right. So I think that's going to be very interesting. With Carolina, can Bryce Young continue the momentum he had from the end of last year? Mm-hmm. Last year, he looked really good. Everybody's like, okay, now he started to look like the number 1 overall pick from a few years ago.
Yep.
And continue that. Also with them trading away Adam Thielen, that's going to put more on that rookie, Ted McMillan. I think that it's going to be very interesting to see how he does. Is he ready to be a number 1 receiver right now? Because that's what he's set up to be. He's set up to be the number 1 receiver on that team. And that's a lot of pressure to put on a rookie to be number 1 guy. And that Carolina defense is still set up to be horrible. Mm-hmm. So Jacksonville should look good in this game offensively. So if they don't, that's going to be worrisome.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you said from the Jacksonville side, Trevor Lawrence, that just so much hype from his college career till now. You say now getting the contract, and you know, if it's warranted or not, it's just more of, again, the QB position. Can Liam Cohen, can he unlock something that Doug Peterson couldn't do for Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville, because they're just only going to be as good as where Trevor Lawrence can take them. And can he take that next step? Because you said it's one of those things. Are you an upper echelon QB and get into that group of, you know, 6 to 10, 6 to 12, that range, that second tier? Are you part of that, or are you on the you know, the third tier? So yeah, now you say got the big contract, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, Travis Hunter, I agree with you on that. I thought they were going to put more premium on him being a, you know, the defensive back, because I thought he was better at the DB position. I mean, dynamic receiver, of course, but I thought he would be. I thought they was going to put more premium on the defensive backside, and we'll see how much he's going to play on both sides, because that's going to be a lot taxing on the body as well. It's going to take a toll. That's why you see a lot of players that haven't done it to be in a two-way type of player, but we'll see how much they leverage with him. So I'm looking forward to that. Another matchup I wanted to talk about was this Ravens and Bills. That's another Sunday night, and the two of the top teams that are trying to get to the Super Bowl in Week 1 in Buffalo. The last two MVPs, QBs. What's your take on this matchup so early in the season?
Yeah, of course, this is the main matchup. This is the main event of the weekend. Just looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it, to see exactly, you know, where both of these teams are. Both of these teams are Super Bowl busts.
Yeah.
When you have two teams who are Super Bowl busts, it's always going to be a very interesting matchup to see what happens there. With Buffalo, do they have a receiver who could step up to assist Josh Allen? They're another team that could be very dependent on their quarterback being magical. Yeah. And you want to see if they're able to get to a point where he doesn't have to be magical for them to win. Mm-hmm. James Cook just got paid. So, of course, you know, he's their big weapon offensively, but they need a wide receiver to step up. They need Shakir. They need Coleman. They need one of those guys to step up and be somebody who they can depend on to get easy completions, where it's not Josh Allen having to run around, Josh Allen having to be magical for them to move offensively. For Baltimore, honestly, they've gotten to the point where, you know how when it comes to like James Harden in basketball,
yeah,
in regular season, we don't care. Right, it's all about the playoffs when it comes to you guys. And Buffalo you can say the same thing about Buffalo, but with Baltimore, I think it's even an extra step because people have been critical of Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, and I thought he was good in the playoffs last year. I thought the game against Buffalo, he had a bad start, but pretty much from the second quarter on, he was great in that game, and that's how he was able to stay in that game. And I think that this year is the year where he's set to overcome those demons when it comes to the playoffs. But now in the regular season, those type of anything he does in the regular season is going to be downplayed.
Yeah,
because we're waiting for the playoffs. So that's going to be a tough situation to be in, because he's going to have amazing games. He's going to have a game where he has 300 yards passing and 100-yard rushing for 4 touchdowns. They're going to be like, that's great. But what are you going to do in the playoffs? That's going to be a tough situation to be in when it comes to that, when people are just like, we're just waiting for the playoffs for you. But I love this matchup. I got Buffalo winning. A close one, 23-20, because it's in Buffalo. I think that's going to assist there. But this should be a great matchup. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's just definitely the main event, like you said, and to just see where these teams are in Week 1. And it's hard winning in Buffalo. It's just regardless if it's going to be warm, which it should be, probably be warmer and it's not like it's December and January where they where's that he said that snow and everything. And I used to live. I'm born and raised in upstate New York, so outside of a couple hours from Buffalo, but we know how that weather, that wind can be. But it should be a nice weather there. But yeah, and then you're right. I think for Baltimore, like I said, Lamar's gonna be Lamar. He's gonna have another MVP caliber season. And offensively, they should be dominant. I think defensively, they try to make some improvements. And then they said, what can they do? They're gonna be able to run the football. They're gonna be able to throw the football. But can the defense hold up? And also, they said, can finally Lamar get that team over the hump and get to the Super Bowl? And he said the Super Bowl bust on both sides, as you said. Josh Allen, like, what else can he do? What else? They had Kansas City again, but it's the Chiefs, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Andy Reid, and they find a way to win. Josh Allen, he did all he could. This was the part before the question was, can Josh Allen, he has a bad game in the playoffs and to turnover and things like that. He limited those, and he did that. He did that all year, and he became the MVP, whether you thought he was or not. But he was a contender for the MVP, and now it's like, what else can we do? You said receivers now have to step up. Who's going to step up? And can that defense be as good as we think they can be? They've taken some injuries and things like that, and now they have to rely on that. But he said they're so both these teams, or mostly Buffalo, are dependent on their QB being great, and he has done that.
Yeah, and another thing is, can Derrick Henry just continue?
Yeah.
Be
King Henry. Yeah.
He can continue just having his career where you're like, is he going to slow down? He's supposed to slow down by now.
Right.
He just continues going. So at this point, people are just like, all right, we're just going to ride it out and see when it happens. No one's predicting when it's going to slow down anymore. He may be one of those guys who has that super long career. And from running backs, we haven't seen it in a while. But it used to be a time where this was expected for you to go 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, think about the Emmitt Smiths and the Barry Sanders and, those guys who had those super long careers, the Thurman Thomases of the world, who were able to stay around for such a long time at the running back position, even with the workloads that they had back then. And maybe Derrick Henry is of that old school ilk where he can just take that workload and continue to go. Adrian Peterson, he's of that type of ilk where he can do that.
Yeah, yes, and somebody said those guys, Emmett and and Adrian Peterson, those guys, they took their punishments. They were built for that, and it wasn't like they were some scat back that just didn't take. No, they took those hits and continue to play 15, 17, 20 years, whatever it is. Derrick Henry, he's one of those bruising backs that just continues to defy the odds, and he said he's from that old school build and body type too, and now it's just is he able to continue to sustain success like that? I think he could. Curtis Martin's, those type of running backs, they just the longevity of running backs, and can he continue to do that? So but let's go. Maybe we'll do one more game, and there is one more game I want to see, and it's that if you just want to call it a revenge game, I guess Steelers Jets, and Aaron Rodgers. I'm interested to see how this is going to work out for the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers as QB. Steelers waited. It was a secret that we all knew. It was no secret. They was just waiting for Aaron Rodgers to commit, and then he finally did. They waited, and he finally did. It's like, oh, this is a surprise. No, okay. You think so? Right. So Aaron Rodgers a QB, but I'm looking at the dynamic. And I talked about this on a past show, a couple shows about the dynamic between Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin likes to run we know how he likes to run a different type of a way, and Aaron Rodgers likes to run a different type of way with the offense. Is like, they're going to be run heavy. Aaron Rodgers, they got this caliber quarterback who still wants to throw the football. Aaron Rodgers didn't have a bad year really last year. The Jets did, and it just the dynamic just didn't work out. They changed coaches, all these things. So Aaron Rodgers can still put up decent numbers and still be that guy. But can they block? Can they protect him and everything too? Is he going to be able to throw the football? You got DK Metcalf. You can't hold that reign back too. So I'm looking interested to see what happens there. But what do you think of that matchup with the Steelers and Jets?
I think it's going to be a very defensively sound matchup. Right? I can see that score being like 14-13.
Yes, 10-9.
Yeah, something like that. Because the Jets have a lot of talent on defense. Pittsburgh has a lot of talent on defense. The Jets, I'm really interested to see what the Justin Fields offense looks like. But I feel like they're going to be a team. I'm calling them my parlay buster. I feel like they're going to be a team that they're not going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be better than expected. They're going to be a weird team that's going to get some upsets. They're going to bust up some people parlays this year. And with Justin Fields, I think because he's so dynamic as a runner, it's going to open up things for Breece Hall and the other running backs that they have there. And they're going to play good defense. So they're going to be a team that's going to make games ugly. Right? They're really going to muck it up, as they say. Like, they're going to have those games where it's like you tune in, like, really, it's fourth quarter is 7-3. Like, they're going to have those type of games where you look at the score, you're like, really? And they're going to be able to muck it up. And Pittsburgh's another team that likes to muck it up as well. So this game is going to be ugly, I think. And I can see it being a low scoring one. So if you're looking for like entertainment, and entertainment to you is high scoring, this isn't the game for you.
Definitely.
But I think it's going to be one that's going to be very interesting from that standpoint, just to see what both teams look like as far as all the changes that they made and how it's all going to come to fruition in its first week.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how is Tomlin going to just allow me, like, okay, this is Aaron Rodgers. Can he still bring that magic and let him do his work? And I think Tomlin will. Tomlin's a guy. He's a coach that, a great leader and everything too. But again, pressure's on him too. We always say 9-8, 10-7. They continue to do that, but is that enough? And can Aaron Rodgers, can he at that age still, put a good year together and bring Pittsburgh past the first round of the playoffs? So we'll see what happens there. Last matchup I was going to ask you about was the Lions and Packers. That's another key matchup and some changes. Michael Parsons now, we don't know if he's going to play or not. I know he's dealing with injury, but he gets traded to the Packers. That makes the Packers one of the favorites in the NFC even more, their odds. But Detroit making changes on with their coordinators, how that's going to look like. What's your interest in this game, and what's your take on this game?
Very interesting, this game. Of course, the NFC North is one of the best divisions in the NFL, and these are the two teams that are going to be fighting for it all year. This is a very, very good matchup. Interested to see with Detroit, what's the effect of losing both your offensive and defensive coordinators?
Yeah.
Right. Does that affect the team in a major way? Talent-wise, they're still one of the most talented teams in the league. And defensively, if they can stay healthy, they should be one of the best teams. Last year, their defense fell apart and basically like confetti paper. Like every week it was somebody else just falling apart from that defense. And by the end, they just didn't have enough left. You saw it in that playoff game against Washington. Like, their defense was just nothing at that point. So if they can stay healthy, that's going to be a big thing for them. Offensively, again, losing Ben Johnson, how much does that affect them? Is the new offensive coordinator able to have the same magic with Jared Goff in that offense and Gibbs and those guys and be able to use them in the same way? It's going to be something where it's interesting to see if they try to do the same things, right? Or if they are completely different. You figure that they will see the success that they had last year and say, okay, we're going to implement these things and maybe not do these things. Maybe we're not going to do Jameson Williamson throwing the ball down the field in a playoff game. He probably won't do that. But outside of that, maybe we could keep some of those same principles that you guys had last year. So I'm very interested in that. With Green Bay, Jordan Love, I feel like this is the year Jordan Love has to take that next step. Has to take that next step of showing that he can be the quarterback that can lead you to a Super Bowl. I believe he can do that. I believe he has the ability to do that. He just has some of that Brett Favre in him at times where you're like, all right, man, you don't have to try to fit into that hole.
Let's rein it in a little bit. Right. Yeah,
you don't have to do that. But he'll have those moments. But overall, I think his talent is amazing. He makes some crazy throws. Like, some of the accuracy and his ability to fit into some holes is amazing. And I love his dynamic ability to run the ball as well. And I think that defensively, I don't know if Michael's going to play in this game, but defensively, add Michael Parsons to that defense, which was already good last year, truly puts him over the top as far as being a real contender. So I think that this game right here is going to be a foreshadow of where both these teams are. I think Green Bay is going to show like they may be the top team in that division now. Yeah,
for sure. And even in the conference, if Michael Parsons, he's that type of difference maker. And he fits right in, and he could get pressure on the quarterbacks and really be that difference maker like he was in Dallas. That definitely puts Green Bay at another level. And you said too with Jordan Love, I think he has the ability to really take it to the next level as well. And Matt LaFleur is such a good coach. He will allow that his offense will be able to allow Jordan Love to really they can put that offense to the next level as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. And he said those question marks with the Lions. We'll see what on both sides. Can they stay healthy? And then offensively, is it going to look the same? Is it going to look different? Because like I said, dynamically, offensively they still got the weapons, so they shouldn't have no problem. But are we going to say, was it Ben Johnson's system, or is it the players? Can they sustain that and even be better than they were offensively? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's so many good week one matchups. So be on the lookout, as and we got our fancy teams going, with it as well. So we got to look out for all those things. So make changes on your teams if you can. If not, get those week one lineups in. So, but all right, let's move on to. I got two more. Let's move on to a different topic. I want to talk about this Kawhi Leonard thing that just came out of nowhere. An investigation. Pablo Torre on his podcast found some things. I'm going to pull up the article because this was interesting coming up. And Steve Ballmer just came out and said he's embarrassed. The Clippers owner breaks silence over Kawhi Leonard endorsement on this as well. But Clippers, I'm just going to read the article. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer is calling on the NBA to investigate other teams accused of circumventing the league's salary cap. This was his first comments since being the target of a probe involving Kawhi Leonard's endorsement deal. So a lot to unpack here. What was your overall reaction? I saw it on what you had put on TikTok and Instagram, but what's your overall reaction of this with Kawhi Leonard's endorsement deal and against with the league salary cap and everything too? But what's your overall take on it?
So initially, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, wow. So they, went outside of the salary cap to get Kawhi Leonard some more money.
Yeah.
And then I saw that it was for $7 million a year, right? Which, of course, $7 million a year is a lot of money to everybody, right?
Yep.
But then when you start talking about Kawhi Leonard and the NBA stars, $7 million isn't that much to them. So I doubt that that's the reason he continued to stay with the Clippers, was that extra $7 million.
Mm.
Now, it seems like it was a rich person hookup, right?
Yeah.
In my video, I made the comparison to like when we were teenagers, you had a friend who worked at Taco Bell.
Yep.
Maybe you get an extra burrito in your bag. You have that friend who gave you the hookup. And this is the hookup on a major, major scale. This is the rich person version of the hookup, right? They gave him an extra $7 million a year. They paid it through his LLC, which is a whole thing with taxes where you get the $7 million directly and you get to pay the taxes afterwards instead of having it taxed beforehand. So again, that's rich people stuff. Where this is the rich people hookup. And for me, I didn't find it to be as egregious as others have found it to be. I've seen some people be very angry about this and say how it could affect the integrity of the game. And I get that point of it because you don't want an owner like Steve Ballmer who has endless resources, right? His money is very, very long.
Yep.
He's somebody who, if he is allowed to go outside of the salary cap, he can give hookups to all types of players to get them in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But then it'll be too obvious because those other players will have to take less than the max. So that's why I didn't see it as a big deal, because Kawhi Leonard got the max and then he got more money on top of that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, for example, there was a big scandal in the 90s with Joe Smith.
Yes.
Joe Smith, he took way less than what he was worth to stay with the Timberwolves because they knew they had some backdoor deal going on where he was going to get paid under the table basically before his next contract. That's where it gets very, very like icky, where it could be something of somebody cheating because now you get Joe Smith for way less than he's worth because you're paying him in a different way.
Yeah. They
still had to pay Kawhi Leonard the max on the NBA salary. So it doesn't really affect the salary cap in that way. Because if another player sees that, it's like, well, I want to go to the Clippers too because they're giving the hookup, they're still going to want their max salary from the NBA perspective anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think this one is a big deal as far as that, because it's not like Kawhi Leonard could have gotten paid 30 million and took 15 and then got 15 in a different way. That's where circumventing the salary cap could be dangerous. Mm-hmm. That's where a team could really stack up superstars, because if you have Kawhi Leonard taking 15, now you can sign another guy who is set to make 20 into that same slot, because now Kawhi Leonard's actual salary isn't counted against salary cap. But in this case, I don't think it really affected it that much. I feel like this was just the hookup of, or you're staying with us, okay, we'll do something a little extra for you. We appreciate you. And it's something where I even brought up the fact that NBA players, especially star players, they don't get paid what they're worth, really.
Right.
You look at someone like Steph Curry. Steph Curry is set to make $60 million next year. A lot of money, right? Definitely not going broke anytime soon.
No.
But you look at what he does for Golden State as far as the tickets that he moves, because people come just to see him. Mm-hmm. The merchandise that is sold based off of just him. The advertisements that they have, both locally and nationally, because of Steph Curry. The money that he generates for the Golden State Warriors is probably, as throughout his career, has been in the billions.
Yeah.
So when you think about him making $60 million a year, that's nothing compared to what he actually generates for them.
Right.
So if there's some type of deal where they're giving him extra money, where there's some type of thing where he's getting maybe a stock portfolio or whatever the case may be, to say like, okay, we know that this isn't enough to really showcase what you are valued to us, so we have this for you on the side. That doesn't really make me angry. It would only make me angry if Steph Curry was getting paid $30 million a year, and then it was able to use that extra $30 million to sign somebody else. That's right. Where it could get dangerous.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think when I first saw this, I thought instantly Joe Smith. I thought instantly, and then I was like, man, this seems like the same type of thing where he was getting paid under the table, and it wasn't in the books and things like that. And I thought like, okay, this is a whole nother level. So I said, okay, now they're gonna lose draft picks. They're gonna be fined. They're gonna be suspensions. And at that time, Kevin McHale, he was suspended, and Glenn Taylor, the owner, he was suspended. So I thought like, okay, this is good. This seems the same exact thing. But then when you dove more into it, it was said it was Pablo Torre reported allegations of Ballmer and Leonard circumventing the league's salary cap with a lucrative $28 million no-show marketing deal with now the defunct environmental startup Aspiration. So I said, okay, I got to dive more into this because this seems a little bit different and everything too. And then Joe Smith, like I said, he lost money. He lost money on top of that because of he could have got paid all the max contract at that time. He lost hundreds of millions of dollars. So that you feel, but then it's like, okay, you knew you were getting this money you were undercutting, you're getting this money under the table. So, but something like with Kawhi, because now that they're looking at more of the past, where his uncle was getting involved a couple of years ago when he was a free agent, leaving Toronto to there's an investigation leading from Toronto to going to the Clippers, or at that time he was going to other teams, and he was demanding all this money. So I think to me it's more of not just this investigation, it's more of, okay, Kawhi Leonard and the history, or of that from his his uncle was part of this and making bad decision deals. I think that's more of the investigation. What the NBA is going to look at is like, well, Kawhi's already had an investigation for this before. We're going to look more into this again. And the thing I like that Steve Ballmer said yesterday, watching his interview with Ramona Shelburne, he just wants to say, I want to get in front of this. You guys can investigate. I'll give you all the things. But again, this opens up a big can of worms for the rest of the NBA. It's like owners are like, do you really want to do this? We really want this? So that this could put a black eye on the NBA if they do find the books of other owners and other teams are doing the same thing.
And the thing is, I wouldn't be shocked if other teams are not doing something similar.
Right.
Like person, the owner started up a tech company, and such and such player got 5% of the stocks. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be shocked by that type of stuff. And again, that type of stuff wouldn't bother me as much, as long as that player is getting paid what they're supposed to get paid per their NBA salary.
Yes.
If they're getting less from their NBA salary and it's been supplemented by what I call the hookup, that's where it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's where you can use that to cheat and get players that you're not supposed to be able to get through the salary cap. That's where it gets dangerous. But if they're just getting a hookup on top of their salary that their market value is, if they're getting their market value and then getting something on top of that, that doesn't bother me. If they're not getting their market value and getting something to supplement what their market value should be, that's where it gets dangerous.
Right. And if this has anything to do with it's from the outside, if it had nothing to do with like this is tapping onto the NBA salary, then if it was just a marketing deal, a sponsorship deal that they were able to get outside of that, then there should be no issue. But if it had something to do and it's like you said, it's adding on to the salary cap, and you're just you're like you said, you're adding on to it. It's like, okay, there's a part, and like I said, Steve Ballmer even said himself, we got out of the deal and everything too, but he said he's got so much resource and so much reach that he could actually, okay, we're gonna now get away from the lawyers and get away. We can do this, but he said the NBA has to investigate. They have to investigate this regardless, because he said it could open up. You're right. I think other teams have done this and are doing this, but I think it's more to do with Kawhi Leonard and his bad dealings maybe with other companies. Of if his, like I said, if his uncle, like he said, they didn't find anything with that, but there might have been something. He might have had his uncle at that time in 2019 probably did tell teams, I want this, I want private jets, I want this, I want that, and you're pushing that. It's like, come on, man. That's you can't be doing that, and you're telling teams you want a piece of this, and for your client to sign. It's like getting your family involved in business situations unless they're an agent. It doesn't always turn out great at all.
No, it doesn't. You look at Kawhi Leonard's uncle situation. You look at the situation with the rookie that's at Utah, Ace.
Ace Bailey. Yep.
Yeah. So you look at those situations. You're like, you got to get a professional agent. If you want to try to get something for your family, don't do it through your team. Do it through like maybe endorsement. Like Derrick Rose got to hook up for his brother through Adidas.
Yes,
that's fine.
Yep.
Like do it over there where that doesn't matter. Like Adidas hooking up your brother with a salary isn't going to affect anything legally. Mm-hmm. That's just like, okay, we wanted to sign Derrick Rose really bad. He wanted his brother to have a job. We'll give his brother a job. Like that's something. Do it that way. Have New Balance hook up your uncle.
Yeah, you're right.
Like have them hook up your uncle to where you're good to go, but don't do it through the actual basketball team.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith brought up a good point yesterday, I think it was yesterday, where he was saying that, Steve Ballmer said, these guys were committed fraud. Look, they conned me. They conned me. He said, I made an investment in these guys thinking it was on up and up and blah, blah, blah. But Stephen A. Smith made a good point saying that, Kawhi Leonard, him not saying anything is what's is hurting. Like, I guess he doesn't want to be part of spotlight. We know that's Kawhi, but Kawhi probably should get in front of this and say, hey, I got conned. This had nothing to do with the NBA salary cap. This is something that it was an endorsement or a sponsorship that I tried to get myself invested in, and it didn't work out. Maybe they did pay him that $28 million or whatever, but then they, like I said, that company now is no longer, and then maybe they did con him, and maybe he's embarrassed too. But if they come out, like you said, because now they're talking about now with Jalen Brunson and how he got to the Knicks, they said this could open up that whole thing.
See, that's a situation where it could be something where it's different because he took less.
Yeah,
it was a big thing. He took less than what his market value was. So if he's getting paid under the table to compensate for what his actual market value is, and now that opens up space for you to get Karl-Anthony Towns, opens up space for you to get Mikal Bridges.
Yep,
that's different. That's where I would have an issue with it.
Yes. Yeah. And I knew, like you said, we know, like you said, me and you've been NBA fans. We've seen a lot of different things happening with these deals. And if like you said, if he took less because to get other players, there's okay. That Alex said, now there's going to be a huge investigation. So the NBA they're gonna have to really they're going to do an investigation, but it's like Steve Ballmer said, he said, I want this to be open, like, because other teams, it's not just the Clippers. There's other teams. You just said, what's going on? They said with the Lakers, how they get Luka, like all these things.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to see how this is going to turn out. But you brought a real good point about teams, like you said, like Steph Curry, like Shaq. Shaq made all his money. Shaq made a lot of his money from endorsements and things like that. So how much Shaq could have made beyond in basketball, he could have made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, but all his money came from endorsement. Michael Jordan probably could have been a billionaire by just on basketball alone, what he brought to the NBA, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. He's fraud and all these things is gonna come out. So we'll definitely be able to look out for before the season starts what's happening with this investigation. All right, last one. Gotta definitely talk this boxing and big fight, Canelo and Bud Crawford next week. I didn't think it was gonna happen. I know me and you talked about this, and I'm like, oh, we'll see when they put that pen to the paper, and there was all these things, how much money, who's gonna be the A side, gonna be B side. It's just like with any other negotiation and fight in boxing, especially. But exciting fight. I'm looking forward to it. It's on Netflix, which is exciting as well. But what do you think, man? I know we were talking about this a little bit during before our draft, our fantasy draft. But how excited are you? I know you're very excited about this fight, and how do you think it's going to turn out?
Yeah, I'm very excited. On a 10 out of 10 scale, I'm on a 10 when it comes to excitement. For this one.
10 plus, right?
Yeah.
This
is one of those fights. This is on that scale where it's up there with Ali Frazier, and it's up there with Tyson versus Holyfield. It's, De La Hoya versus Mayweather. It's on that same scale. Mayweather Pacquiao. It's on that same scale when it comes to those type of level of fights. And with this one being on Netflix, being essentially free, right? We're already paying for Netflix. So it's essentially free for everybody to watch. That makes it even bigger because people who are, would not pay for it are now going to tune in because it's already on Netflix. They're like, oh, Saturday night, it's on Netflix. Let me go ahead and just watch it. Because they may have a friend like me who's super in the box and tell them, like, this is the big fight you should watch.
Yes.
And you mentioned A side and B side. You have two A sides, right? Yeah. You have two guys who should basically split 50-50 when it comes to their thing. You can make an argument that Canelo's the bigger star, right?
Yeah.
So if he is getting a little bit of a bigger percentage, that makes sense because he's bringing in a bigger audience, being such, a Mexican legend. And with Mexico being such a big boxing country, he's bringing in a bigger audience because of that. But as far as just from a resume standpoint, both these guys are A sides. It's a very interesting fight from just a style standpoint because we saw Canelo have issues in the past with slick boxers, right? Erislandy Lara gave him issues. Even William Skull gave some issues for his movement around the ring. And of course, the most famous example is Floyd Mayweather. And Dimitri Bivol, of course, but that was a different type of slick that Dimitri Bivol is providing.
Yeah.
Terrence Crawford is slick, but he's not that type of slick as a Floyd Mayweather. He's not the type of slick as Erislandy Lara was in his prime. His is different because he'll take punches. Like we saw it in the Madrimal fight. He'll get hits from time to time because he wants to inflict damage.
Yeah.
So will he change his style enough to where he's not taking the damage or the hits that he would take in other fights because he's willing to take a shot because he believes his shot is going to hurt more. And he's been right so far for his career that his shot's going to hurt more, right? But that was in smaller weight classes. At 168, not only is Canelo used to being at 168, used to being in a bigger weight class, but Canelo has one of the best chins we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like we haven't seen Canelo be hurt since he was basically a baby fighting against Miguel Cotto's brother. That was the last time he was actually stunned in a fight.
Yep.
So to go against Canelo and Terrence Crawford's mentality normally is I'm going to attack, I'm going to finish you. And we've seen him finish most of his opponents. For him to go into this fight, his mentality has to change and know that, okay, this fight is going the distance. Mm-hmm. So now I have to go into a mentality of I have to outbox Canelo for 12 rounds. And if he doesn't go into that ring with that mentality, he can find himself on the ground. Canelo has the power to knock someone like Terrence Crawford out.
Yeah.
That's going to be very interesting to see if he goes in there with mentality. And the thing is, he can't run too much, though, because he could mess around and make the same mistake that like Jermell Charlo did, where Jermell Charlo didn't sit down enough and still end up getting knocked out anyway.
Yep.
So you have to make sure that you have that balance of, okay, I have to sit down, punch with Canelo, but then also be smart enough to get out of the pocket in time. Floyd Mayweather, a lot of people say, oh, he ran. You watch the fight, he was in the pocket. 85% of that fight, he was in the
right.
pocket.
He just couldn't hit him.
Canelo couldn't find him. He couldn't. Yeah. He was right there in front of him, but Canelo couldn't find him. Can Terrence Crawford mimic that same type of style where he's right there in front of Canelo and Canelo can't find him? Now, the thing is, Canelo's a lot better now than he was then.
Yeah.
Right, from a skill standpoint. So it's going to be very interesting to see, can Terrence Crawford get away from Canelo? Can Canelo wear him down with body shots? Because that's Canelo's thing. Body shots, hitting your arms. He's going to wear you down in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see, can Canelo wear Terrence down? And will Terrence go into the ring with the right mentality of, I have to outbox Canelo. I can't go in there looking for a finish.
Yeah, I like that. I like that breakdown. I agree 100%. And I know, like you said, when we were talking about this before we started recording the fantasy football draft, we were talking a little bit about it. And I was still trying to say, okay, I love the styles, and I love the how this matchup is going to, how we think is going to turn out. And I'm still kind of like, I am leaning towards Canelo just slightly, only because of the weight. And one of my questions was going to be, do you think with Crawford had to put on so much weight, will he bring that type of power? Because he never fought at this weight at all. And that's a huge weight. We've seen fighters, some are really good at, they bring their, he's still gonna bring a skill set, but will that slow him down? Will he be able to use some of that power? Because you said Canelo, he's got that power at that weight, and you're right, Crawford cannot, if he's in that pocket and he wants to really fight with Canelo, he definitely can. He doesn't want to get hit with one flush shot, and Canelo will put him on his back with that. But Crawford is so good at adjusting, and and like I said, he wants to attack. He adjusts those first couple rounds. Can he make Canelo more frustrated and things like that? But I feel like that size difference could be a difference. Especially, but you're right. I think Crawford has to. Can he fight those 12 rounds? I'm sure he can. He definitely can. He's got the skill and all that. But will he be able to, have that added weight and have that added, and that power to really contend with Canelo for those 12 full 12 rounds?
Yeah, that's a big thing. If Terrence Crawford hits Canelo with a solid punch, and Canelo looks at him like, That's it, right? Yeah. That's gonna be dangerous for Terrence, right? Because Terrence has to get his respect, and if Canelo doesn't respect his punch power at all, that's where you're gonna see it get dangerous. Where he's gonna be able to just go down, hunt him, and Canelo's really good at cutting off the ring as well. So he's gonna be able to hunt him down, get him into the corner, go to that body, wear him down, hit those arms. That's one thing Canelo's really good at. Canelo doesn't care if he's hitting your arms. He's going to wear you down. So okay, you're gonna block the whole time. Those arms are gonna be really sore. We're going to see if you got those arms up by 6 rounds.
Yeah, you're right.
You still got them up. So it's going to be very interesting from a style standpoint. Man, it's a tough one. I'm going to make my official prediction on Tuesday when I do my podcast. But I'm leaning Crawford, but Canelo has so many ways he can win as well. It's a really tough one to predict.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. This is the elite level. And Crawford is, and then the arguments, if we've seen, Crawford hasn't fought anybody, and then when he fights Errol Spence, he makes Errol Spence look average. So and that was supposed to be that type of fight, and then Crawford just said, "Hey, I can fight. There's levels to this. I'm an elite fighter. He's definitely elite, of the elite, and now he's really fighting an elite guy. If he makes Canelo look average, even at Canelo at this age, at this point of his career, Canelo's been through so much, and Crawford does that. It's like, okay, what else can you say? Like Steph Curry said, what else can you say? You can't. There's nothing else you can say as well. Even if Crawford loses, this guy's still this is a super main event, super fight main event. I could change my mind next week, but I'm just leaning towards Canelo, just for a simple fact of he's fought at this 168. He's fought so many different fighters. maybe not a fighter like this, but he's fought so many different fighters. And, Canelo's last couple fights hasn't looked like Canelo, but I think he will be up for this. He's definitely going to be up for this fight. And I was watching. I've been watching a lot of predictions and stuff like that. Roy Jones said something interesting that what Canelo has to do. He said if Canelo goes in there and thinking, "Oh, I'm going to go ahead here and just try to use my power and get right at Crawford," he said he has nothing coming. He said that because Crawford will adjust and make Canelo look like Canelo looked like over the last couple fights. But if he said he goes in there with a game plan and said, okay, let me see what Crawford can do, and it makes his adjustment and then use that power later in the round and can get a flush shot, then that's when Crawford or Canelo could win.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that Canelo has to go in there with a game plan of being able to feint and get Crawford into traps, right? He can't just follow him around.
Yeah.
Because if he does that, Terrence Crawford will be able to trap him and be able to get him with some mean counter shots. Right. And we've seen Terrence Crawford does a great job of also countering to the body.
Yes.
Right. And that's one of the things that maybe he could slow down Canelo in that way by countering, because we haven't really seen anybody go to the body on Canelo in a way like that, where it was like, oh, okay, he's really trying to slow Canelo down that way. Canelo's always the one attacking the body.
Yeah.
And somebody going to Canelo's body and making him stop and slow down would be interesting as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, like you said, the adjustments on both sides. You said Crawford going up to 168, like Crawford going up to 168 to see if he could carry that weight and really box. I said the skills are there for sure, and Crawford. The confidence he's got, like this last month, he is the confidence at an all time high. He did that against Spence, and I think, this could be some trouble for Canelo, because we've seen Crawford having that all time. He's always confident, and he always feels like he's gonna win, but. It just seems like that same thing he had with Errol Spence. He was just very confident. And if he's that confident against Canelo, it's like, oh, okay, this could be a long night for Canelo too. But again, Canelo too, he's very confident in his skills too, and everything too. So they're both confident. But Canelo hasn't been really talking as much. Crawford has been talking, but he's just uber confident. And he said, I'm gonna have Canelo respect me, and then. And the fans that said I haven't fought anybody and all that, I think that is giving him motivation to say, this is an all-time fight, and I'm going to win.
Yeah, no, I'm loving it, because we haven't seen a fighter go into a fight against Canelo since Bivol with the belief that they can win.
Yes.
Right? Like the last few fights, there's been guys who they went in there, they may have said the right things, but you could tell once the bell rung, they didn't really believe it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With Terrence, he's going in there to win. He's not going there just for a payday. The payday is going to be nice, but he wants to he wants to win on top of that. Like, he wants to go in there and submit his legacy and say, I'm one of the greatest of all time. I went up to 168 and I beat the face of boxing.
Yes.
And that would be something that would cement his legacy and put him in the upper echelon of the all-time greats. So I think he really believes he can do that. And that's why I'm so excited, because the last few Canelo fights have been guys who they may have talked a good game. I'll give Jaime Munguia some credit. Like, he seemed like he really wanted to go at Canelo. He just didn't have the skills to do it.
Right.
But Berlanga, Skull, those guys went in there, and you could tell, especially with Berlanga. Berlanga made me mad. Berlanga went in there, and it seemed like he just wanted to be Canelo's friend.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was like, you could tell Terrence Crawford really wants to go at Canelo and win this fight.
Yeah, and he has to. He definitely has to. You said those last Canelo fights, Canelo didn't even feel like he wanted to be there. It just seemed like he just in there, like, these guys ain't on my level, and say Canelo's at this point in his career, he just wants to, he's getting a lot of money for sure, but he just continue to keep building his resume. This is a fight, and he took this fight, and they made it happen. So it's very exciting. But all right, last one I want to talk about two names going into an exhibition. I don't know if it's gonna be a fight at all, but it's an exhibition. Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather, an exhibition fight. And then when we had already set this date that we were gonna do this show, and this fight announcement came out earlier this week, and I was like, oh, here we go. Legacy, 30 plus years. but exhibition. Tyson, Floyd Mayweather. I mean, what do you think? When you heard this? What you think? Like, really? Like, we really doing this for So, but I mean, Tyson's got Mayweather by so many pounds and and everything too. But what you think of these two all-time greats getting into the ring and doing an exhibition for fans?
I didn't really have any strong thoughts on it. It's two old guys trying to use their name to get a payday.
Right.
This one doesn't bother me like Tank versus Jake Paul.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it is. Yes.
Yeah, like that one bothered me. This is what an exhibition match is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Older dudes using their name, and they're gonna get casual fans to be like, "Oh my God, it's Mike Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather."
Yep.
When people like me and you are gonna be like, "No, this is not Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson. This is an old dude named Michael versus an old dude named Floyd. This is not Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson."
Yeah.
And you were talking about it before the show. Mike Tyson against Jake Paul didn't look good.
No,
he didn't look good in that fight. So to imagine he's going to look good against Floyd, it's not going to happen. He's not going to be able to turn the clock back. That ability to turn the clock back left 20 years ago.
20 years ago, yes.
It left.
Yes.
It's no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
Floyd, his ability to turn back the clock may still be there. Like, he's 47, so he may still have that ability to turn back the clock, but he's not going to do it against Mike. They're going to have an agreement. They're going to go in there and put on the show, and they're going to, move around. I'm not going to watch it unless there's a good undercard. Like, if they put on a good undercard, then I'll tune in. But if it's other like celebrity fights and stuff like that, I'm not going to tune in. Like, it's something where they're trying to just use their names to get another paycheck. Cool. This one doesn't bother me like Tank versus Jake Paul bothered me.
Yeah, that bothers me too. We talked about that on social media. It's like, really? Like, come on, man. Why are we doing this? But you're right. It is like two old guys. And Mike Tyson, I give him a lot of credit because he's out there at 50. He's 59 now, so by next year he'll be 60 if this fight does go on. He'll be 6 years old. And you worry about the health. You do worry about it. And when I told my wife about it, she said Tyson must be the issue for money or something, because it just seems that. I don't think he is, but it feels that way. So and she's casual boxing, so it's like she's thinking is he wanted the money, because it'll be a big pay. It'll be a big pay for both of them. Floyd definitely not, but he's a businessman, and he said himself. He said I did read something that it's more of I do this as on the business side. And, if they offer me 40 million, I'm going to do it, or whatever the pay is going to be. I'm going to do it. If it's on Netflix, they get even more shares of that. So, it's just, he's been retired only for 2 years. I think Floyd retired a couple of years ago. So it's not his official last fight was 2017, but it's not like Tyson been out of boxing for a long time. So it's going to remind me of kind of like Roy Jones and Tyson in a way too, where they said they have an agreement. If I hit you once or twice, we'll put on a show for a couple of rounds. And what's the stipulation? It's going to be 2 minute rounds, not three.
Probably 2 minute rounds. Probably 8 rounds for 2 minutes.
Like Jake Paul. Because even Jake Paul said, I don't know if I believe him, but he said after the fight with Tyson, I had a chance to put him down, but I didn't want to do that to Tyson. And you could tell Tyson ran out of gas. I mean, he's 50 and he was 58. So
I do believe Jake Paul had opportunities. There was one that stood out in that fight. In the second round, there was a moment where Jake Paul circled to the right of Tyson, and Tyson didn't circle out. Normally, you would circle out away from him.
Right.
He didn't circle out because he's older. He didn't have the reflex to circle out, and all he did was cover up. Body was wide open.
Yeah.
So if Jake Paul really wanted to go after him at that point, he should have reared back way back here, took it from California to Florida, and hit him with a body shot. But he didn't do it. He just jabbed out and moved away. It was like, okay, they have an understanding. They're not trying to hurt each other. And I didn't want to see Tyson get hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. You don't want to see somebody of that age really get hurt in the ring, because that could lead to the ultimate tragedy.
Yeah. Yes.
We don't want.
Yeah.
Right. We don't want to see that. And I think Floyd understands that as well. So again, they're going to put on a little show. They're not going to go after each other too hard. And I think, again, they're just using their names to try to get a payday. This one doesn't really bother me as much. And again, I won't watch it unless they put a good undercard together. Now, if they put a good undercard together, they use their names for good in that way to put other boxers on,
right?
Then I'm like, okay, this is cool. Let's do that. Let's put these other boxers on. Let's get a really good undercard, and then I could really buy into it.
Yeah, like you said, it's celebrities and things like that. And I'd rather would have said if Floyd was going to fight anyone in an exhibition, and you wanted big names again, get Manny Pacquiao. I mean, I know Pacquiao's out here trying to fight, like for real. And
Manny had a draw with Mario Barrios. He's still trying to do it.
Yeah, he's trying to do it. Yeah, and he looked pretty good. Pretty good. You know, it should have been a draw, but you know, I mean, Pacquiao did his thing. But again, if you wanted to have that, or even I know somebody floated out Conor McGregor again, and that too. But a 60-year-old Tyson at that point is like, I don't know. Like I said, maybe like I said, if the undercard's good, then and it helps other boxers, promotes them. I think these guys are good, especially Floyd, good promoters. They can actually do something like that. But he said the names and the exhibition, giving the fans what they want. Do we really want this? And the real fans, nobody asked for this at all. No.
This wasn't even like a dream matchup. No one ever was like, ooh, I would love to see Mike Tyson versus Floyd in their primes. No one, because the weight was,
80 pounds. Yeah, it's like 80 pound difference.
Yeah, so, no one ever thought about this. No one ever thought about Jake Paul versus Tank. No one actually two matchups. But the Jake Paul Tank one's going to do well because of those two guys having big names and both being young.
Yes,
it's going to do well.
Yeah,
so that's the difference.
Yeah, two retired fighters, way past their prime, legacy fighters. Like we didn't ask for this at all. The real fight is next week. So Canelo Crawford. So see that one.
Canelo Crawford. If you're a boxing fan, this weekend is major. Canelo Crawford. Yep. You also have the monster Naoya Inoue fighting on Sunday against MJ. Yeah. Like this weekend's crazy. And the undercard for Canelo versus Crawford is also a really good undercard as well.
Yeah, it's a real good. Yes, real good. So invest your time in those type of fights for boxing in general. So those are the ones that you really want to see. But if you want to watch a spectacle or whatever, I guess I just don't feel like it's gonna happen because I don't really think it's gonna happen. But it still could. So I know they announced it, but it's all on their camps and all that too. So
and I thought if Floyd was gonna fight somebody, it might have been Roy because they've been having that little back and forth.
Yeah, right.
So I thought maybe that would happen. I don't want to see that either. I'm not advocating for that. I don't want to see that either. But I thought that would be the one that would happen because they've been having the back and forth and they could actually build it up as something where it's like, oh, these two guys don't like each other, which I hate because those are my two favorite fighters of all time.
Yeah.
So see Roy and Floyd going at each other. I'm like, man, y'all should be working together, trying to help younger boxers out instead of going at each other like this. But this Floyd versus Tyson again. Get a good undercard together. I'll watch it. If not, I'm not gonna be tuning in.
Right. You're right. Yeah, definitely. Floyd and Roy Jones going at each other, and Andre Ward. He's not really helping it either because he had Roy on his show, and they're talking. And Andre Ward, he's calling guys out too as well. So, but like he said, I guess in the interview he did ask Roy. He said we're fighters. He's like when we get, you ask questions, we just can't. He says it's hard to put it down. It's hard to officially retire to turn it off. But I don't want to see that either as well. So you guys had your time, and you guys, and like I said, Roy Jones is one of my favorite fighters of all time too. So it's just like. Yeah, just leave it be, but they can't turn it off, man. They can't let it go. Tyson at 60 can't let it go. They just can't. So yeah, we'll see. But Damian, man, this has been a pleasure, man. Having you on once again, another epic show. Really appreciate your time. But let everyone know what you got coming up. You said you got I know you're gonna talk about the Crawford and Canelo fight on Tuesday, but talk about what else you got coming up on your show and where they can follow the podcast as well.
Thank you so much for having me on, man. It was a blast. It's always a good time having you on, or you having me on and me having you on. It's always a good time. My show is called The Real Deal with Damian Adams. On my show, I'll talk about the NFL, NBA, and boxing. So, of course, on my upcoming episode, I'm going to be reviewing week 1 of the NFL season, previewing week 2, and going in depth, giving you my 3 keys to victory for each Crawford and Canelo, and giving my official prediction for that one as well. And I'll talk about the Kawhi Leonard situation as well on that episode. But The Real Deal with Damian Adams is available on all podcast platforms. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, whatever you listen to your podcast, you can find The Real Deal with Damian Adams. Also love to do reaction videos to things when they happen. I'll be doing reaction videos this weekend to football as well. So follow me on social media at The Real Deal WDA. That's The Real Deal, W as in whiskey, D as in Delta, A as in Alpha on all social media platforms. And I also have a website called realdealtakes.com where I will just write up. Sometimes, videos don't have enough time. You need to go into a little more nuance. Yeah. So I like to, when it comes to those situations, I like to write articles. And I also do articles about betting. So my last article that I did was my player props for week 1. One has already hit. Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown, hit on Thursday. And I have 4 more bets on that one. So go ahead and check it out at realdealtakes.com for you bettors out there, and bet responsibly. So don't lose your house on my bets. But go ahead, and put a little sprinkle on there. Put a little sprinkle on there and just give me a shout out if you win some money on my bets. All right.
No doubt. Yes. Follow Damian, follow the show, like, subscribe, follow the website as well. Show love. It's a great show. Great show as well. Always has good content and conversations, and with a little bit of comedy, which I love. That you always gotta have that. We don't take ourselves as too serious as well. You gotta have fun with it too. We love what we do. We get facts, and then we also gotta have a little fun with it as well. But I've always enjoyed the show, and always being a part of it as well. It's informative and everything too. So, but man, really appreciate the time, man, and thanks again for doing this, and look forward to more content, more shows together as well.
For sure, man. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right, man. You too. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy those games as well.
Will do.